Alright, there we go. Now we're going. Let's see here. Sound mix looks good today. I don't know. I struggle to find a good balance with the music volume, but hopefully this will work. And if not, then, oh well, who cares? It's one stream. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, alright, we're live and going. Hey, every peoples. This is EnviroBoy. We're doing some writing today. Sticking with our mid-afternoon streams here. Gonna give that a shot. I guess it's technically early afternoon. Mid-afternoon is more like 2, 3 o'clock. It's like almost bang on noon right now. But I think that's arbitrary and no one actually cares. I'm just rambling about it. So, but yeah, we're gonna do some writing. It'll be good stuff. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm trying to just land on like an intro or something for myself. So we'll just keep with the format I've kind of been doing, in which I say I'm EnviroBoy. Today is February 26th, 2021. It's a Friday, and we are doing some fun writing stuff. And yeah, that's it. We're into it. So we just finished last time. Oops, I gotta be on the right screen if I want to actually be able to move my screen. Yeah, so last time we had been working on hold up. Okay, seems like it's keeping up. I don't know. I had a couple drop frames there. I wanted to make sure that everything was working. But yeah, so last time we were working on our Pirate Cove and we finished it up. So this time, and my goal was to finish up with Pirate Cove this week. So that actually makes me think I have yet to actually check it off of my checklist here. I have yet to check off anything that I've done today off my checklist. So I should probably get on that. Let's see here. And then let's see here. Where is it? There it is. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I've gotten myself in the habit the past like month or two of keeping like daily checklists of things. Both like I put in things that I have to do, like that are unique to that day, as well as things that I want to do that are just sort of like everyday things. So it's like I put on, run a stream, on days when I want to make sure I'm streaming. I put down, practicing instruments or something like that. I put down also I need to do tasks for my job. Just as sort of a way to motivate myself to stay focused throughout the day and make sure I'm not wasting too much time throughout the day and all that kind of good stuff. Because, I mean, I think probably all of us can relate to being prone to just sort of idling by a day if we don't have something to keep us focused and enthusiastic about what we're working on throughout the day. So yeah, but at any rate, let's see here. So today I was thinking, so since we finished the Pirate Cove and that was my goal for the week, I was thinking that this would be a good time to go ahead and just work on some lore. Lore is, I think sometimes lore for a lot of DMs gets overlooked because it tends to be, I don't know, it tends to not be the focus of things, and it also tends to be, especially if you're doing like a homebrew world like I'm working on, it tends to be pretty easy to just improv it. Just kind of wing it whenever something comes up and you need to have some lore. So I try to not let myself do that so much, because the problem with winging it is it tends to result in a lot of just kind of like backing yourself into a corner, or a lot of overlapping and incohesive thoughts and ideas. So it's really easy to kind of twist your world into pretzel knots that don't really work together if you're just kind of randomly doing it. So I like to have at least an idea of the lore of my world. down to specific details for like specific deities or for races within the D&D world. I prefer to set stuff up that way. So I want to work on some lore, and I have to think about, let's see here. I'm trying to think about what I want to work on. I've actually got a couple things that I've been kind of meaning to check out, or to work on, I should say. I'm sorry, my brain's just, it's already working on stuff, and so I'm until I figure out exactly what I'm going to focus on, my brain's going to be kind of scattered as I try to think about that kind of stuff. Let's see here. I'm wondering if this would be a good time. I'm wondering if my brain will be in a good place today. If I'm feeling like it might be. I'm feeling like the creativity might be there for me to work a little bit on some of the different schools of magic and how they play a role in my world. It's something I haven't really spent much time on, but I'd like to, because I don't like magic. One of the hard things, so like one of the things that happened in or that I put into the Pirate Cove is some traps that utilize different magics and arcana, but they don't fit necessarily the rules. That they're not based off of any actual rules as written, like rules as written spells or anything like that. And as a DM, I'm really not afraid to do that, because I think a lot of times it's necessary if I'm going to be able to, you know, properly offer challenge for my players. And so it's important to let yourself deviate from those as a DM, I find. That said, I'd very much like, hold on, I'm gonna turn the volume down just a smidge here, because I'm worried that the vocalizations, even though it's just vocalization, will be a little overpowering, which is counterproductive to trying to just produce something that can be listened to by people. So move the mic a little bit closer here too, because I don't want to have to be shouting the whole time either, because that'll just shred my voice and make it hard to stick here for 2 to 3 hours like I'm planning on doing. So but yeah, it's I think important and necessary for a DM to kind of deviate from the rules as written when you're trying to make a good challenge. That said, I don't want the magic that I create and use in that way to feel cheap to my players. I don't want it to feel like I'm just making stuff up, even though I am. I want it to feel like there's actual rules. So what I want to do is I want to take some time kind of thinking about each of these schools, what they're capable of, and also sort of what the historic contexts are within my world. So that way, if I want to kind of fall back on the hand-waving explanation of it's an ancient form of magic, or an ancient approach to magic, or something like that, then I can, I guess it's more easy to utilize that if I at least have thought about what the actual lore would be, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I want to do today. But the first things first with me, I want to make a template so I know exactly what I'm writing for each school here. So actually, you know what we need to do? I'm gonna delete that page. Delete this. What am I looking for? Insert page templates. Is that the one I've been using? Yeah, the Tyranny of Dragons template is the one that I've been using. to do School of Magic template. Alright, so up top here we're just going to do quick explanation of what this School of Magic generally encompasses. I always love the word compass or encompass because there's the word ass in it. Stupidest joke. I shouldn't have said that one out loud. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to do origins. So the idea that I want to focus on is that, or not that I want to focus on, but I want to make sure that each School of Magic has sort of a clear, understandable origin. You know, like where it came from, how it came to be, who were the first practitioners. You know, like I think about a lot of it from the Avatar, Last Airbender, from that world where they have like, you know, the original airbenders were the sky bison and stuff like that. Like for me it's a little more complex. I'm not trying to create a children's show here that can be, you know, digestible to 7-year-olds. So I'm not afraid to go a little bit more complex with it, but that's the general idea that I want. I want to sort of outline where it comes from. So we're going to do a couple subheadings within origins. And we're going to do heading 3, make it red. There we go. So first I want to do ethereal planes. So my first thought is that initially, so the way my world kind of follows pretty, in fact we can go to Pantheon here. So I utilize within my world the standard D&D Pantheon, and I find that's probably the easiest way to do it. It's a very generalized template that pulls from a lot of different bits of lore, so it's easy to make it an all-encompassing. Whenever I get any sort of idea that I want to add into my world, it's easiest to find a cohesive place for it in here. But I want each School of Magic to sort of when I think about my world and I think about magic, so obviously we've got the mortal plane, and then the way I describe it is like all of the ethereal planes are like different layers of oil at different density over top of the water of the material plane, right? Where it's like they all sort of exist together within the same cup, but the layers will kind of separate. But it's possible to go through the layers. And then of course there's the unhinging in my world, which was, as I always describe it, like someone took that big jar and just shook it up and, you know, got all of the layers sort of somewhat homogenized to a degree, which caused all sorts of chaos, and things are slowly over time calming down as the layers continue to reorganize themselves. And so that's sort of the nature of the world. And I want to have magics originate in I'm probably going to have each one originate in a specific plane, but then have it so that they, you know, obviously it's not like you can only cast, you know, one type of magic in Mount, you know, in the Mount Celestia plane or whatever. Like it's not like that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think about how that would work though. That's kind of it's sort of a challenging one to think about how I want to do it. Like, does a School of Magic originate from one of the planes, or does it originate from a few of them? And like, should I include in the lore the first one to take it from its original plane? I think that one definitely will be there, especially if I go with an original plane concept. Gosh, my voice is shattered today for some reason. I don't know why. Probably just more dehydrated than usual or something. Finally got to train some kickboxing last night for the first time in over a year at this point, and it was awesome. But whew, I am out of fighting shape. I'll tell you what, I was not ready. You know, it's like mentally you think you're ready, and you're like, oh no, it'll be good. I'm gonna go there, and it'll come back to me. It'll be great. No, it doesn't. Not after a year. Not after a year. Whew. I got kneed, elbowed. I got thrown all over the place. You know, with hip throws, leg sweeps, and everything. It was brutal. I got beat up. It was awesome, and I loved it. But yeah, I got smashed quite a bit. So, but yeah, so that might be why I'm, you know, out of my voice is a little rough. I might be still a little dehydrated from last night. I mean, I got my Powerade here. I'm trying to. There it is. I'm trying to get my system regulated again. Them electrolytes, you know, what plants crave, back in my system. But it's sometimes a slow process to do that. I think people underestimate sometimes after a new workout, you know, that you haven't done in a while. I think sometimes people underestimate how much time it can take to bounce back, both for themselves and for others, right? Like, I certainly underestimated it for myself. I didn't think it would take me a full day to bounce back. I'm glad I don't have class today. Gonna hopefully do some rock climbing later this afternoon, but we'll see about that one. I don't know. I'm not gonna give myself a hard time if I take a day off after getting kneed in the ribs for an hour for the first time in a year. It's yeah. But anyway, back to the topic here. So I think I shouldn't focus on. I think magic. I almost think it would be more interesting if magic was more about the interactions between planes, right? So like magic is what happens when you pull energy from one plane through another into another or something like that. I think that is a more interesting concept to me. So it's like inherently no beings are magic per se, but there are beings that have the ability to tap into the energies of any of certain or any or every plane beyond the one that they presently exist in. Hold on, I gotta check this. Sorry, that's my phone going off. Nice. Okay. Sorry, one of my players, you know, that actually for this game that we're working on here, one of my players, we've been mixing in some virtual play because we don't all live in the same location. We all live within like an hour or so of each other. But because of that, because it's winter where we are, and because, you know, we're all adults with lives, we don't always meet in person, so we've started mixing in virtual games so that we can play more often. And one of our guys just got a webcam, which is exciting. That'll be fun, so we can make fun of how ugly he is when it's in person, just like they do with me, because I've got a webcam. So, but yeah, so I like the idea of magic being sort of the action of pulling energy from one plane to another. Yeah, so let's go back to our schools of magic, origins. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to do first practitioners, and this is going to be discussion about who or what was the first ever to use magic of this school. Alright, and then I want to do... Oh wait, hold on. What am I doing? What am I doing with this header? That's not the format I've been using. Hold up. That's the one we've been using. We make it red. That's what we want right there. We want heading 4. Boom. The italices make a difference. They really do. They really do, stylistically speaking. It looks prettier. And if you disagree, you can lick it, because it's my document and I can do what I want with it. Okay, so I want to do nature, and what I mean is like the nature of the magic. So if I'm going to just say if magic is the interaction of various energies among the planes is what we'll say. So if magic is the interaction of various energies among the planes, what energies and planes are the focus of this particular school, right? And so it's like, it's going to talk about like what schools of thought lend themselves, sorry, my back is stiff. Oh, I don't know if my mic picked that up. That was straight up and down the spine. That was great. Oh, my neck is stiff too. Man, every part of me is so sore right now. It's good though. It's a good kind of sore, and I'm glad to be going through it. But yeah, yeah, so it's like different magics, different schools of magic will probably lend themselves better to things like ritual casting versus instantaneous. Different schools of magic are going to lend themselves better to damage, and or some lend themselves better to like status effects. Some of them, lend themselves better to healing, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's where like the energies can come from. And my thought is, we've got, there's 8 schools of magic here. And so I'm thinking each school of magic, if I can try to, I think it'd be interesting, assign these to sort of an alignment, so to speak. They're inanimate, it's not really, but it's like, the idea necromancy is going to be more of an evil, maybe a bit more chaotic, things like that, or maybe illusion is more of a chaotic, or illusion could be a neutral. I don't know. We'll workshop that one. I don't know. One of the reasons that I also want to do this is because if I'm going to start introducing the concept of the enchantment tokens, like I sort of was talking about doing for the Pirate Cove, if I'm going to be introducing those ideas, different schools of magic will lend themselves better to that kind of stuff too, so I think that would be helpful. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? Here's what we're gonna do. Instead of nature, we're gonna call this. So first practitioners, we're gonna call this one. I'm gonna do energies, and so discuss what energies what energies exist that allow for this form of magic to exist. That's what I want to do. And then what I want to do is copy this, paste it, and then copy that and paste it, but we will not, we'll rename this one. It's not going to be called Origins. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to do nature. So the nature of this, I don't like that right there. I'm going to do that. It looks better. I'm going to do the same with the nature. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, the drop's coming. Oh my goodness, the guys are now blowing up my phone. Hold up. Okay. So the nature of this one, I want to say, this is where we're going to discuss. So let's see here. Alignment leanings. So we'll discuss that. I want each want to discuss, well, here, actually, you know what I should do? I should say, discuss what alignments more naturally are drawn to this school of magic. Is what I want to do. And then, yeah, hold up. Delete. There we go. Alright, yeah. So there's the alignment leanings. I want to discuss practical uses. So I want to discuss what sorts of general functions are most common in this school. And then, because it's going to be an important part of the game, I actually want to have a specific section for enchantment. I'm going to just do enchantment notes. Drawing from the above to discuss the nature of enchantments. Let's see, of how this school impacts enchanted items. And I'm going to do a couple bullets here because I want to do so what we're going to do is we're going to do alignment. So alignment, oh man, I just had an idea. So this is how we end up with like various cursed or sentient items, right? So the leanings of different ones. I almost want to. So now I have a separate idea. Ooh, 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 ooh. So what I'm thinking here is, for enchanting items, I kind of want to have players, whenever they're working on an enchantment, roll a D100, my jawbreaker, right? Roll the D100, and if they get the fabled 100, the item develops sentience, right? And that's how you end up with like a cursed item or something like that. And it's like, yeah, and it's like if the item is leaning more towards lawful, then that's when you have like, okay, here it is. If the item leans lawful, you have a sentient item. If it leans chaotic, you have a cursed item based on the magic they're doing. And then like if it's evil, the curse yeah, if it's evil, it's like it can definitely be cursed. And if it's if it's evil, if it's chaotic evil, you have a randomly occurring cursed item. If it's lawful evil, I'm going to workshop that. I'm going to workshop that a little bit more once we get this done. But I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. A whole lot. Oh, that's a cool idea. That's such a cool idea. One thing I just realized that it's probably worth me pointing out, I'm using the term enchantment quite a bit. And I'm discussing that for schools of thought, even though, as we can see right here, there's an enchantment school of thought. I have not put anything of as far as lore goes in there. So, the way I do things, I'm going to pull up D&D Beyond here. So that way we can look at some spells and sort of discuss. Because this is actually something that I think is valuable to discuss. Because rules as written, if you're going to enchant an item, you would most certainly want to use enchantment magic. But I think that is... I think there's two different uses of the word enchantment that get thrown around, but they're not. They're different things. What I'm talking about when I say enchant, I'm more so thinking of imbibement. you imbue an item with magic. And maybe I should start discussing that, but the term enchantment is more colloquially used, right? When you think about an enchanted sword, it's a sword with magical properties. But when we go look at some enchantment spells, right, in D&D Beyond and stuff, then you end up with, like, if you're, well, here, let's just pull it up. Jamie, pull that up. We want, where is it? Enchantment. Right, so the way enchantment is used in the spells, you can see with these: enthrall, sleep, Tasha's hideous laughter. Enchantment, in terms of the spells, is much more about control. You're controlling a foe or an ally. It's much more about, like, mental control. Whereas when we're talking about items, it's much more about like I say, it's you're imbibing an item with that magic. And my idea is to, like, put together eventually an entire encyclopedia within my notebook of how each spell, like, have just rules assigned for every single spell about what the enchantment does, right? And then the sort of improving and homebrewing beyond that goes from, if you already have an enchanted or an magically imbued item, goes towards, that's when you start, and you're adding another one, that's when they start having interesting interactions. Like, if you have animal friendship and charm person on the same one, maybe it causes some sort of weird effect, I don't know, where, like, there's the possibility that one is more powerful than the other, right? So even though both of them are on there, so suppose you put animal friendship on there first, then maybe the item is still more effective on animals than it is on people, or something like that, Or if you had, something that's a bit more sensible, not everything will necessarily have negative impacts to each other. Like, here we go. So if you have dominate person and charm person on the same time, right? So look at the details of here. You attempt to charm an humanoid you can see within range. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or your companion are fighting it. If it fails the saving throw, it is charmed by you until it ends, right? And then where's dominate person here? So dominate person, you attempt to beguile a humanoid that you can see within range. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the duration. If you or the creatures are, while the target is charmed, you have a telepathic link with it, as long as the two of you are of the same plane of existence. So if you have both of those in there, right, on an item, maybe it'll be the item, like you say, I want to control that person to some degree, and sort of the item is, like, it randomly chooses whether or not you're dominating them or you're just charming them. Right, so you have to be careful about it. Things like that. It gets more interesting, if you have an item that you imbue with magical fire and magical ice, or something like that. So it's like maybe the ice is drastically reduced because the fire will melt the ice. Things like that. Excuse me. I might have to go get another energy drink. My brain has decided that when we're trying to, at least based on the evidence of yesterday and now today, my brain has decided that when we're doing an afternoon stream, that's a good time for a siesta, and it just tries to fall asleep. I'll look up spells rules here, and I'm just going to see. I'm going to see if it just has. Spell level so much. I'm just wondering if they have any thing that just sort of talks about what the different schools of magic are. Game rules. Let's see here. D&D Schools of Magic. Schools of Magic. Let's just see what this has to say. I wonder if also, actually, you know what, sources... Dungeon Master's Guide. I wonder if the DM's Guide has anything about magic. Creating a spell, maybe? Let's check that. Let's see what that shows for us. Maybe there's some interesting stuff. Magic item. Doesn't seem to have anything in here. Okay, let's just see here. Simple Guide to Schools of Magic. Let's see what this has to say for us. Ah, yeah. See, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. Conjuration deals with creating objects and creatures or making them disappear. Yep. Necromancy, in general, think of spells within School of Necromancy as manipulating the ebb and flow of different creatures' life energy. Yep. School of Evocation. Yep. It's just magical energy. Abjuration. Yep, that's going to be healing, transmutation, water to wine. Yep, changing things. Divination is learning. Yeah, so like I say, enchantment is more about mind control. And then illusion is just, yeah, illusion. It isn't entirely... Well, no, I guess it is functionally different, so, cool. So I'm just gonna keep this pulled up. What is this? What is this? I should offer the Alpine DM. Okay. Yeah. Offer up a little bit of credit if they, you know, if anyone else wants to find this. The Alpine DM. Alpine DM. Interesting. Okay. Something I found. You know, who knew? This is one of the most important things about being a DM. Like, don't be afraid to find pre-made stuff. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. You know, I do a lot of reinventing the wheel, but I'm doing that because I want, you know, I want to and I kind of have to make sure that my world is cohesive with itself. So, but yeah, enchantment notes. So alignment. So I'm gonna do, instead of enchantment, I'm gonna start trying to do imbibement notes. So yeah, I'm gonna start changing that. And try to be better about using that, because I think that will make things more clear for myself and for anyone watching these videos or watching the stream, talking about it to my players, that kind of stuff. So, by notes. Let's see here. Impacts imbued items. Magically imbued items. So, alignment. Alignment will impact things like the potency, impact on different types of enemies, and even whether the item is cursed or sentient. So just that's all we need for there, and then practical uses will inform things like if the item automatically uses magic or needs to be activated, and whether or not the impacts are defensive, offensive, or we'll just say defensive or offensive in nature. Right, so it's like there's some that are obvious where it's like, you know, if you enchant an item, if you enchant like a cloak of mage armor or something like that, where it's like putting it on automatically grants mage armor or something like that, for that situation you might want that to be more of a passive concept. Whereas if you sorry, stretching my legs, oh my gosh, you know, that'll be more of a passive and obviously defensive type of thing. Wall of fire, though, like, is that going to be more of an offensive or defensive thing? You know, it kind of depends on a few different things. Depends on how you want to use it, and so that's why enchantments, that's where like an enchantment is limited compared to actually casting a spell. Because casting a spell, you can use creativity to be, you know, a bit more flexible in the use of it. But if you're if you're just using an enchanted item, it's going to do the same thing every time, right? So that's an important distinction. So yeah, so we've got those, but actually, let's see, that's not what I wanted to pull up. So what I want to pull up, D&D better crafting. Better crafting system for 5e. I'm going to pull this up here. Common crafting system, that's what I'm looking for. So the common crafting system, and actually, no, yeah, never mind. I don't want to pull that up right now. Because what I'm thinking about working on, I am now immediately passionate about these sort of rules for potentially creating cursed or sentient items. I am immediately obsessed with this idea. And I really want to explore it. So we're going to go here. I'm going to do new page. I'm going to put it in here. I might, what's this? Hellertown, Pennsylvania. I don't know nobody from there. I'm not answering that. No way. No way. Okay, so I want to work on here. Wait, hold up. Because I'm obsessive. Insert page templates D. There we go. Haha. All right, so we're gonna. I'm gonna just title this. Imbibement. Nope. Imbibement. Yeah, we'll just call it imbibement. That's fine. Man, I really feel like I got brain fog going on today. I am so tired still. Just like mentally and physically tired and drained from yesterday. It's funny. It's funny how it impacts you. Like, there's nothing wrong. It's not like I need to see a doctor or anything. I feel fine, but my brain is moving a bit more slowly than it usually would. You know, and I didn't get hit in the head at all. It's like we weren't working on head strikes. We were working on body strikes. So I know there's no like concussion or something going on. I'm tired, man. I'm burnt out. I'll have to. Got 15 more minutes until I go to my usual break. And so when that time comes, I'll go get myself an energy drink and see what that does for me. Let's see. Okay. So imbibement. So this one I'm less worried about. So let's see here. Here's a basic guide to how imbuing an item with magic goes. Okay, so I want to take that up there. So first, let's see here. Let's say I'm gonna do steps. So like step-by-step process, kind of here. And then we want for choosing an item. First step is choosing an item to be imbued with magic. It can be an item that already has magic, magic incorporated into it, but players should be aware that more magic results in more potential interactions. Alright, choosing an item. So simple as that. Next one, heading. Choosing a spell. Next is choosing... Actually, no, what we're going to do, choosing an enchantment token is what we're going to do. I'm going to make it so that way, because I feel like if it's just a spell, it makes wizards a bit more OP in terms of creating items, right, for players, either for themselves or for their team. And I don't want that. I want magical items to still be a special thing. So, choosing which enchantment token will be used. Part of this process. Let's see here. Choosing enchantment. Let's see here. Process includes figuring out how the token will be bonded. So choosing an enchantment token. So then next I want to put in here determining effects and activation. I'm going to put here DM. So this is where I really come in. So I have to determine this type of stuff. How a spell how a token changes the functions of the item needs careful consideration. As a default, so I'm trying to think about, let's see here. So first thing, so let's see here. Duration. So it's not duration, so we just want duration. Let's see, we're just trying to think about this so that it is easy to read and comprehend here. So duration, important to think about how often a magical imbuement can be utilized. So yes, this is tough because there is such a thing as just like a +1 sword that has increased right, like you can have like a +1 or a +2 sword that is just perpetually causing it. And I almost want to make it so that when you imbue an item, it is that way, right? I almost want to do that, but I feel like there are so many spells that just wouldn't work for. Let's just look at like a smattering of. Okay, you go away. Like I just kind of want to look at some random spells and see if they would be just demonstrably overpowered by having them be like a permanent effect. So like so like an acid splash. So it can be at a cantrip. But see, I'm wondering if like what I could do is just have it as the default, all of them, it's like a permanent, always active, passive type of thing, right? And then have it be a specific situation in which the imbued item is activated as opposed to just being passive. Because like I'm looking at this cantrip, right, and it's like, they can find this one pretty early, but what you could do is just like if it's a damaging, if it adds damage, you could just make it so that once it's enchanted in there, right? So once they put the acid splash, since it's a baseline of a cantrip, right? So it's like you just make it so that if they enchant it at the first level or like at cantrip, it just does like 1 damage. It's like you could do almost, cantrips are baseline 1, and then for the rest of them it's like the level times 2 or something like that for the amount of additional damage. So it's like if you put it on a sword, right? If you put the acid splash on a sword, then every time you slice an opponent, it's like it produces a bit of acid that gets left behind in the wound. And that does, at cantrip level, it'll do +1 acid damage, right? That's something that I think is pretty minimal, but players would be excited about being able to do, because if there's an opponent that's weak to acid, then suddenly it does some more stuff, right? And then if you go up to something like this, so an 8th level, oops, that's not what I wanted. So an 8th level, draw the moisture from every creature within a 30-foot cube. Creature takes 12d8 necrotic damage. Right, so it's like obviously if it's going to do 12d8 necrotic damage every time, that's disturbingly overpowered. But if you just make it so that it does +16 necrotic damage every time, right, because it's level 8 times 2, that's significant for an 8th level, considering how much effort it's going to take to enchant that, because that's something that, like, an 8th level spell, even with the use of an enchantment token, with the common crafting system that we use, it'll take them months, maybe years, to enchant that properly, because it's something they can just do a little bit at a time, you know, as part of downtime activities, right? And that's why I like the concept of the enchantment tokens. I never understood the concept of enchantment, like when you think excuse me, like imbuing with magic, when you think about how that's usually done within lore and stuff like that, and like the fact that it would require like rituals and chanting and stuff like that, it really makes sense to me for someone to be like, you know, just for an hour before bed, I'm gonna draw, you know, a pentagram, and I'm gonna pray to Satan for just an hour, and like just like doing that with, you know, nothing to mark your progress per se. That just doesn't really make sense to me. Whereas like with the token, it's like imbuing it as a process, and it takes a lot of time to focus on binding that token to that object. So it's like if the binding process is going to be to take that coin and slowly, you know, over time try to weld it into the sword or something like that, because of the magical properties or something like that, it takes a very careful process, so they slowly do that. And added impact is, if you're in the process of enchanting an item, you cannot use that item, otherwise you undo the enchantment process, right? So to make things limited would be the idea, and that would also help limit players' interest in maybe super overloading one item with all of the enchantments, because while they're working on an enchantment, like, they can't use it. So if they've got one that's like their favorite sword that has 2 different enchantment impacts on it, then, you know, they're not going to want to not use that. So I'm thinking that could work, you know. Animate dead. So it's like you could, you know, enchanting something with animate dead, it's like you could put that in like a charm or something like that, that you that you like give to a creature, right? Like a necklace that you put around the neck of a skeleton or a corpse. And then, you know, and so then it basically casts a spell. So it's like for 24 hours it's under your command, right? And then at higher levels, so it's like it has to be at level 3. It's going to be so this one, so with the spell at higher levels, you know, it can impact more enemies. So it's like maybe what you can do then, so I don't know, I'd have to think about the details or something like that, but yeah, so like that one could be, it would make sense for that one to be always active, right? I want to find a healing one, because I want to think about how healing, I know how I can find a healing one. I can just search for healing word or something. I'm just going to do healing. There'll be a couple. There we go, see. So healing word. So it's like a creature of your choice that you can see within range regains hit points equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Spell has no effect on undead or constructs. So how would you have healing word being an always active thing? Right, and that makes it a little difficult. And so for that one, what I would probably do is then say you can use it, or, you know, maybe it can be, it will do that, it'll do 1d4, it'll do like 4, since we can't add a spellcasting modifier because it's an item. it's like, you know, it's like a stone or an object that you hold, right? You have to be making skin contact with it, and over the course of however many hours that you're holding it or something like that. Or no, it can't be hours, because healing word has to be an instantaneous thing. So it could be, okay, so what I'm thinking is, like, you could set it up as a charm, you know, like a necklace or a pendant or something like that that a person wears, and whoever's wearing it, you know, they automatically will receive 4 hit points as soon as they receive up to 4 damage, right? So it's an automatic heal, but then it would need like a recharge time or something like that would be the trick. Because otherwise that would be such an overpowered thing. So it's like maybe these items, so maybe the default item is, the default is always passive. So it's like healing our I don't know. I guess really what I'm discovering here is that it's something that's going to have to be specific to each spell. All the more reason for me to work on the compendium, right? Which I'm excited about, thinking about how fun it would be to sort of figure out how each spell would serve, would function as an imbibement. And I'm thinking I'm immediately going to make that a project of mine that now I'm already kind of wanting to do. But it should finish up this thing here. So should be determined for each spell prior to using the token. Some will be once per day. Some will be continuous. One be continuous / permanent. Something like that. Yeah. So we do, and then we'll do activation. The item should have a clear activation state. Let's see here. Does the user have to activate? Does it activate on its own? There's no apostrophe in that. It's weird. Its own. If so, what are the conditions? Okay. And then obviously we have to do effect. Should be a predictable effect of reasonable power comparable to spell effect. Okay. If damage, consider how often the damage will be dealt. If healing, consider how often healing can occur. So on and so forth. So on and so forth. Okay, so now okay, so we're going to do the act of imbuing. let's see here. Players will need to take time each spell should have predetermined rules. However, improvisation is necessary for multiple spell interactions on a single item. Boom. There we go. Okay. So yes, I take time to actively imbue the token to the item. So rules here. An item in the process of being imbued cannot be used until the process is finished. Boom. Alright, and there's one other rule that actually I want to put primarily even beforehand. Let's see here. This process can be done once per day during downtime. So they can work on it once per day during downtime. So, and you just say once per day. It doesn't necessarily have to be once per day. If they have multiple periods of downtime, I'll allow it, but just as a baseline, you say once per day, just so that way they're not like, okay, how many times can I roll it during this period? It's like, okay, just like per one rest period, roll it. If there's some reason it's going to take extra long, then do it more. But you do one per day too, because then it's like, okay, so we're going to wait 3 days at the hotel until the event that we're waiting for happens. It's like, okay, well, once per day you can go ahead and work on that. So once per day during downtime, it's finished. Yeah, actually, those are kind of the only two rules. And then, oh wait, hold on, no, there's a couple other things. Every time they work on it, have them roll 1d 100 for, we're going to do that for, what am I trying to describe here? Because that's for the you know, that's the modifier for if it's sentient or cursed. For well, you know what we'll do is we'll do for sentience or curse. So if they roll a 1, the item is now cursed. So now the thing is, do I make it so do I allow it so that players will know that it's cursed? The item is now cursed. If they roll a 100, the item is now sentient. Because the only thing that I'm thinking about, the only thing that could become problematic with that, is how often are they going to have to roll? Because I don't want every item to be cursed or sentient. So maybe it's, if they roll a 1, the item gains a cursed point, or something like that, right? If they roll a 100, the item gains a sentience point. And it's something, and then maybe I can just do it like, if an item gets 10 of one or the other, it will become cursed or sentient. I like that. Okay, I like that. Is the item gains a curse point. the item gains a sentience point. If 10 curse or 10 sentience points are accumulated, the item is then cursed or sentient. These statuses cannot be removed without completely destroying the item and all associated tokens. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I really like that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see here. Phone is ringing, but I will answer that in a minute. Okay. I am going to. I'm looking at here. Been going for an hour and 10 minutes, which means that after an hour, I usually consider an hour an appropriate amount of time for me to be going before I let myself take a quick pause. So I am going to take a quick pause just to stretch my incredibly sore legs. I'm feeling how sore they are right now. So I'm going to do that, refresh my beverage, respond to a couple texts that are blowing my phone up. But I will be back just in a few minutes. I don't intend to be gone long this time because I'm feeling the creative juices and I'm having fun kind of inventing, working on this a little bit here. I love this type of stuff. I like doing these things. And I love subjecting all my players to them too. So, but yeah, so take a quick break. My clock is showing it is 31 minutes after the hour. So I will make sure I am back 40 minutes past at the very latest, probably sooner than that. So, yeah, so hang tight. I'll be back in a second once I, am done being a human for a minute. Be right back. There we go. See? We'll be right back. It's right there on the words. I'll be right back. You don't have to worry. Be right back. Oh god, I'm back. I'm back. I said I'd be back. I'm back. Hold up. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. Holy crap. I remembered suddenly that today was the Nintendo Direct event, and I quickly checked out the announcements, and I had to text a couple of my friends because holy crap, Pokemon Legends looks awesome. Oh man, you want to talk about willing? That looks so awesome. You know, like a full-on RPG, proper open-world RPG with Pokemon. I've been wanting that since I first got my GameCube. Like I grew up with Pokemon Red and Blue, right? I remember Pokemon Red was the very first Game Boy game I ever got. I remember that. I remember going to the store. It was I think it was a birthday gift or something. My parents were like, "Okay, for your gift, we're gonna get you these, but we know that there's different colors of Game Boy, and we know there's different colors of the Pokemon game. So we're gonna take you to the store, and you can choose which one you want, right?" And so I went and I picked out. I had a blue Game Boy. It wasn't even a Game Boy Color. It was a blue Game Boy. It was one of the pocket ones. It wasn't the original, but I had a blue Game Boy Pocket and Pokemon Red. And ever since then, I loved those games. It was the first game I ever had. I loved it so much. And then I grew up with video games ever since. And once I got my GameCube, I was like, it'd be so awesome if they made a full Pokemon game for this. And so then they have since then made Sword and Shield, and then you can, they also have the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. And those are fun, but they've really just felt like ports over to the console from the handhelds. But now, and there's all those like suspicions of that's what Sword and Shield always were just like a port from what was originally going to be on the 3DS, got ported over onto the Switch so that they didn't scalp sales of Switches from themselves. And so that's always been a conspiracy theory that I think holds a lot of water. I don't know, but I think it's a reasonable theory. But yeah, no, they just announced that they announced it today. It looks awesome. I mean, it obviously has a lot of work to do, but they announced it for 2020 or 2022. And holy crap, man, I might have to change my pants. I peed a little. Ah, that looks so amazing. So, anyway, I'm here to write. We're working on D&D. Gosh, I'm excited about that though. Boy, oh boy, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun game. If they pull it off, I should say. There's plenty of time for them to ruin it, but if they pull it off, that's gonna be a fun game. Whew. Okay. All right. So let's see. We were working on active imbuing. I think that's actually kind of everything that we need to do for to determine for the imbuing thing, because the actual process of it is done using the common crafting system, which I am a big proponent of. I'm not remembering. I had it pulled up. Do I still have it pulled up? No, I closed it. Look it up. Someone put it together, and I think it's all things considered, I think it's an excellent resource that someone put together. And I wish I knew who it was. I'm not going to search it up. I don't want to spend too much time obsessing over that. So I'm not going to look it up right now. But if you're a DM and you're looking for a good way to let your players have a good crafting system, because the rule books, bless them, are incredibly designed for ushering DMs through their own creation, is kind of what it's about. The books, they try to avoid being too rule heavy. They're very much the books want to encourage creativity between players and DMs. They want you to be loose and relaxed about the rules. And for the most part, I think that's wonderful. I think that's how it should be. But I think sometimes there are a few, limitations to that. And one of those is that because there's not really a clear crafting system, it gets confusing, it gets muddled, it gets very it has just a very improvised feel most of the time, and that doesn't serve well. I think there are some things that do need a more specific set of rules, and so the common crafting system, I think, does a really good job of that. So I highly encourage you to look it up if you are a DM looking for some stuff to create. Alrighty. So, let's see here. So we did that. What was I getting excited about that I wanted to think about? Oh yeah, I kind of want us to start just toying around, playing with making some spell lists and the impact, and what those, how the spells can be used to imbue. So let me see here. How do I want to organize it? So I got to think about how I want to organize it. I mean, I think the easiest way is going to be I think it'll be easy enough to fit all of them in a single page. So if we have conjuration, right? So if we do conjuration, I'm just going to call this spell imbibement. So we're just going to do spell imbibement. And I think I want to just do it. Oh wait, hold up, I goofed up again. Delete this. I don't know why that always cracks me up, just the delete this. Like like, you see it in comments, like you see it all the time on like Twitter and stuff. People like delete this. Like, I don't know why that always cracks me up. Because of just someone go, delete this. Like, just the audacity involved with just demanding that from someone, that always cracks me up. Like, for me, it just feels in the same school of, I can't believe you've done this. Like, it just, I don't know. It's my broken brain finding stupid things funny. Okay, so we're going to do imbibement. Spell imbibement. And what we're going to do, we're just going to delete this. Damn it, now I'm going to think about it every time. So stupid. Alright, level, let's see here. Cantrips. Alright. And then what we'll do is just do that, and then we'll start, so alphabetically as cantrips. And we'll just start making them go, and I think this is going to be a good time to utilize our split screen here. Yeah. Alright, so we want to go to, I'm working on conjuration. Oh, because this has got them by class. No, I don't want to do that. Show advanced filters. We can get rid of that. And we want to do spell school, conjuration. So yeah, and then filter spells. Do it. Alright, and so then if we sort by level, good, and it has it alphabetically there. So I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Because the other thing too is I can always just like search. I can do a quick Control F, You know, or it's even got the search key right up here, and just search for it in the page. Beyond that, so that's no big deal. So okay, so yeah, acid splash. So I think what's going to be good is to, so we're just going to do, I'm going to do acid splash, and then in here, nature, so just the nature of the spell. So acid splash, the nature of it is going to be yeah, so let's see here. It's kind of where I want to put just like the spell traits. So instead of nature, I'm just going to put traits. Oh, should I bullet that? I don't know. I'm overthinking. I can toy with it and make it pretty later. Traits. So instantaneous. Oopsie. I need to underline that. Let's see here. Actually, rather than doing that, so a spell that will inherently have inherently spell that will inherently be offensive in nature. So I think kind of what I want to do is I'm rethinking the idea of having schools of thoughts have an alignment. I feel like that's going to be too hard, and really it's yeah, really it's just yeah, it's so up to my interpretation that it just doesn't really make sense. And I feel like I'm forcing a little bit too much of my interpretation of things on stuff. And I think one of the cool things about magic is the interpretation of how a magical thing impacts something else. I think the nature of that is best for like each character, each spellcaster can kind of think about that, like what it means and how they want to use it. So yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that. Inherently be offensive in nature. Let's see here. So acid splash. So then we'll do on weapons at cantrip level will add. You hurl a bubble of acid. Choose one or two creatures that you can see within your range. If you choose two, they must be within 5 feet of each other. Target must succeed on dexterity saving throw. Take 1d6 acid damage. Spell's damage increases by 1d6. Okay, so because the area is always immediately around, at cantrip level, we'll add So I got to think about this because I want to make sure that any given weapon, like it sort of adds, like I want to make sure that each one really encompasses and really retains the nature of the spell, right? Because there's a lot of different acid things. I don't want all of them to just be causes acid damage, causes acid damage. So in this one, hurl a bubble of acid. Choose 1 or 2 creatures you can see within range. If you choose 2, they must be within 5 feet of each other. Target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. So, on weapons. Let's see, we'll do on weapons. On a hit, a magical splash of acid erupts from the contact point of the enemy, splashing said enemy, splashing it and all adjacent enemies. Adjacent enemies see, I don't want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the potential to splashing it with acid and causing additional acid damage. On a hit, magical. So at cantrip level adds one point of acid damage. At higher levels adds 2 times the spell level of damage. Spell level of acid damage. So if they go through the trouble to do it at like 9th level, then it can do 18 points of acid damage on every hit. So yes, it's extremely powerful, but it will take an extremely long amount of time to imbue it, right? And you're going to have to be very high level and very determined to end up with something like that. So we've got that on weapons. On clothing, when wearer is hit, a small fountain of acid will erupt from the contact point back towards the source of the attack, causing acid damage. And then we'll do that same amount. So yeah, so they can make it defensive in a way, but they have to be hit. Yeah, I mean that's good. Let's see here. Sentience / curse. So if the item becomes sentient, it will so I'm not really convinced that sentience should always be something that's like pure drama, or a dramatic impact. Sometimes I think it's totally fair for it to just be something that's ridiculous, and I think the nature of the spell will inform that. So in a voice that sounds like someone with a cold. That. No, let's see here. So, what would the nature of this spell be if it became sentient? If the item becomes sentient, it will always encourage the person wearing it to... How do I want to word this? What do I even want it to do? If it becomes... Here we go. Becomes sentient, it will encourage the player see, and this is where the alignment can kind of come into play. So it's like, you know, becomes sentient, roll a d8 to determine alignment. Okay, so hold on. Now I'm going back. So here's what we're gonna do here. Let's see here. For sentience, roll 1d8 for alignment. Let's see here. See, 1 equals, no, not equals 1, equals lawful good. 2 equals, no, lawful neutral. 3 equals, you know what, we're just changing this to dashes because fuck that. I was hoping that it would auto format and catch on, but that's not happening. Lawful evil. 3, so 4 equals, let's see here. Neutral good. 5 equals neutral evil. 6 is neutral, or no, sorry, we've got chaotic good. 7 is chaotic neutral, and 8 is chaotic evil. Okay, so we do that. So now what I've thought of in my head is for each of these, so sentience personality traits. Good equals wishes you wouldn't use it to hurt others. Evil encourages you to hurt others. Lawful only wants to use acid on specific people. Chaotic, acid is everywhere. Oh, everywhere. Oh my god. So I can just see like a chaotic evil like sword just like constantly spewing acid at everyone. Right? And then let's see here. Curse trait. Let's see here. Okay, so for either sentience, let's see here, sentience, personality traits, only uses acid when you want it to. Evil encourages you to hurt others. That's what we'll do. Yeah, we're gonna add this little layer on here because I think this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have so much fun creating this in Compendium, and there's so much that I can do. This can be a project that lasts forever, and I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. Encourages you to hurt others. Will always cause acid damage. Lawful. Will refuse to cause acid when it disagrees with you. Chaotic. Will occasionally ooze acid at random. I already love this. I already love this so much. Okay, curse trait. So the curse trait I'm thinking of here is that will cause acid to splash back on the user. The user on 19 or 20 attack roll. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think that's good. So the curse is that curse trait. Yeah, I like that, and I don't even think that it necessarily needs to be that they can't get rid of it. It's just like that's what the item does. So you have to be willing to accept acid damage if you want to cause acid damage. Curse trait. Let's see, and what we'll do is we'll do double acid damage, but will acid to splash back. Yeah. Yep, I like that. I think that's good. I think that's good. And that covers pretty much everything. And oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much fun with this already, I can tell. And the reason I can tell is because I'm already I'm gonna do another one right now. I still got 10 minutes on my 2 hours, and I can go longer if I feel like it. Although I don't think I will go longer today because I did miss a call from mi madre, and she will be wanting me to call her back whenever I get the chance. So, because I'm a mama's boy and I care about me mommy, so I'll call her back like a good responsible son, but not until after we do a couple more spells here. Create bonfire. Okay. Create bonfire. And actually, instead of a spell, we're going to do an imbibement. Imbibement. There it is. An imbibement with, let's see here. So I gotta think, so if it's damage and control is how it would normally be used. With potential for offensive, with potential for offense or non-combat function. Alright. So let's see here. On weapons. So you create a bonfire on ground that you can see within range. Until the spell ends, the magic bonfire fills a 5-foot cube. Any creature in the bonfire space when you cast the spell must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take a 1d8 fire damage. Creature must also make the saving throw when it moves into the bonfire space for the first time. Turn or ends its turn there. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking on weapons. And the weapon can be used to strike the ground. Strike the ground in any space to strike the ground. What did I just hear? This song. This is a song. Oh, I swear that was like the Mario death noise. And I was right. Probably it's called 8 Lives. This song is. That's funny. Okay, so it can be used to strike the ground under the feet of an adjacent. There it is. Adjacent enemy. I'm not a writer. I'm not excellent at spelling. Ever since I was even being a kid, I've been terrible at spelling. Always have been. I've gotten better over the years at spelling. Really, I've gotten better at grammar. I understand grammar pretty well for an average person. Like, some grammar scholar can come in here and be like, "You don't know shit," and like point out 7 things I just said wrong just then. But for just the average person trying to clearly convey a thought, I'm pretty good with grammar. That said, I still suck at spelling. Weapon can be used to strike the ground under the feet of an adjacent enemy. When this is done, a bonfire is created on that space. That space. It's created on that space. Alright, let's see here. At cantrip level. Let's see. Okay, so let's see here. Once used to create the bonfire, the damage caused follows the rules of the spell, which is going to be dex save by anyone on the space. On fail, 1d8 fire damage. Higher levels will do 5th level is 2d8, 11th level 3d8, 3d8. So here's the thing, though. Here's what I need to think about, though. Dex save. I gotta think about what the dex save is, because they're not casting anymore. Right? So... DC. I want to do DC. DC. Let's see here. Okay. adjacent enemy. Here's what we're gonna do. Player will roll attack roll to determine the DC for that bonfire while it exists. So described in RP and role-playing by the size of the fire. There we go. Alright, I like that. I like that. Dex save by anyone. Space on fail 1d8 fire. So 5th, 11th, and then 17th is 4d8. 17th level 4d8. Not 48, 4d8. Gosh, that's always one of my favorite jokes that either no one ever finds funny or no one understands I'm saying when I say it. On clothing. So this is a tougher one to think about what this would do. Let's see here. So here's what we're gonna do. So it's up to players to think about these things, right? And so this is where this is where things can end up being kind of fun. When the article of clothing hits, is intentionally used to strike the ground, i.e. we'll just do such as a boot stomping or a glove hitting. A bonfire is produced 5 feet in front of where the article strikes the ground. Player's AC determines the DC for the bonfire. The binfire? The bonfire created. Alright. See for the bonfire created. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then for damage, we're just going to go ahead and there we go. So we got that. So now, sentience / curse. Alright. Sentience, personality, traits. Good. Only wants to make campfires. Evil. Loves when fires are set underneath living things. The more helpless, the better. Let's see, and we need to do lawful. Let's see here. Lawful is let's see here. Will create fire exactly where you intend. chaotic. Fire has the tendency to spread out to neighboring spaces. Hey, how's it going, Spooky? Glad you made it. I know my times are a little weird here, and I'm starting to stream in the afternoons now. I had to switch up my stream time, so I'm glad you found us here. I'm kind of winding down on the stream here, but I'm gonna go for a little bit longer. I'm having fun screwing around with like readjusting some. Yeah, afternoon streams are tough in general, but I had to do it because yeah, I know. I feel bad because I kind of started like, you know, establishing evening streams and stuff, but I had to change because I've been very fortunate in that, you know, I've been vaccinated from all this COVID crap, and by being vaccinated and because a slot opened up in their very small number of people we can have at a gathering at a time where I'm located, I'm able to start training martial arts again at a gym, but they only do classes in the evenings. So I've had to adjust my streaming schedule a bit so I could do that, because martial arts has always been a really important thing to me, and right now I will take whatever opportunities I can get to be able to train. So oh, you got afternoon class. Well, I mean, if it helps, I will definitely still be uploading all. You know, I'll be leaving the replays up, and I also I upload all of my streams to YouTube once they're done. So if you're interested in whatever I'm producing, then still feel free to check it out. What arts do I have? So right now, because we're limiting class sizes so much, there was only a slot open for Muay Thai, so I'm training up Muay Thai again. But as things sort of expand, you know, and we can get back to more normal-sized classes and getting more people involved and letting us kind of branch out to other classes and stuff, I really like doing full-on MMA. And then the school that I'm at also has dedicated jiu-jitsu classes as well that I really want to get involved in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is definitely my weak spot. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. You know, that's awesome that you're going to the armed forces. Yeah, no, I'm definitely more sport oriented in what I do. You know, I've taken some Krav classes, and they're brutal, they're intense, they're awesome. But for me, you know, it's a hobby, so I just kind of like the more sporting aspect of it. So yeah, it's all kind of MMA focused for me. But yeah, at the moment, it's strictly Muay Thai. I had my first class last night again, and I am very out of shape. CQB. I'm blanking on CQB. That's not an acronym I'm familiar with. So maybe type it out so I can actually. So I can follow and not be slow. But yeah, no, I you know, it's a hobby for me, and I started doing Muay Thai, close quarters combat. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, that's in a lot of ways like that's like Muay Thai is excellent for that kind of stuff too. There's probably a whole ton of crossover. In fact, last night, first class back, we were just doing knee striking drills, so we were working in clinch pretty much the whole time. And it was awesome, but my knees are all kinds of bruised up now because my body is soft. It's been a year, so yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here for a little bit longer anyway. I'm gonna toy around with a few more spells here. So let's see here. So what were we working on? That's right. We were creating some sentience stuff for if we have someone. Imbuing and they get enough random happenstance for it to gain sentience. So we'll do that. Fire has the tendency to spread out to neighboring spaces. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? Chaotic. Fire has the tendency to spark, causing 1d4 damage to creatures on adjacent if I could spell, man. 1d4 damage to creatures on adjacent spaces if they fail a dex save. Boom. Yeah, we'll just do that. That's chaotic. Curse. Let's see here. Wait, hold up. Curse trait. Let's see here. When used to create a bonfire, the item grows painfully hot, causing 1d4 let's see here, we'll just do 1d8 damage, 1d8 fire damage to the caster. So yeah, so it's like if you use your, like if you've got a sword with it, right, and you slam the sword down, but it's a cursed version of the sword, the pommel gets really hot, right, or the handle gets really hot, and so you burn your hand while using it. So it's like, yeah, cursed sword. Oh my gosh, this is fun, man. I am so glad I decided to spend some time on this project here. All right, now next one up, infestation. So hold up, we got to do whoops, I should also do four, there we go. Infestation. And imbibement. Why can't I spell imbibement today, ever? Imbibement. Yeah, an imbibement. Alright, let's see here. Cause a cloud of mites, fleas, and other parasites to appear momentarily on one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or it takes 1d6 poison damage and moves 6 feet in a random direction. If it can move, let's see here, and moves 5 feet in a random direction if it can move, and its speed is at least 5 feet. Roll a d4 for the direction. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. If the direction rolled is blocked, the target doesn't move. Okay. Infestation. I like this, though. This is cool. An imbibement. Let's see here. With potential for... Let's see here. An imbibement. Let's see. An imbibement that will primarily be used for offense or environment manipulation, we'll say. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and get that going. Yeah. Okay. On weapons. Let's see. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking with this one. Rather than creating a cloud of them, when the weapon strikes a foe, the wound caused is immediately filled with parasites. Yeah. Yeah, and this one, because it fills them with it, there's no save. Yeah, I like that. Filled with parasites. These parasites persist until the wound is healed. and cause. We're just gonna, yeah, okay, let's see it. And cause damage on each actually we'll just describe it as parasites persist until the wound is healed. That's poison damage, right? Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so we'll just do that, and then what we'll do is let's see here. Parasites cause 1 poison damage per 1 poison damage at the beginning. Well, we'll say at the end of each turn. And then we'll do at higher levels. Actually, we could just make that as another sentence on the same bullet point here. At higher levels, damage equals the spell level times 2. There we go. Alright, I like that. I like that. Armor. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking for on armor if they do it. The article is covered in a layer of tiny parasitic insects. If a melee attack is made against the wearer, the attacker let's see here. Makes a con save against the wearer's AC. On a fail, the parasites move onto the enemy, move onto the enemy. Parasites. So that's when the damage will be the same. Shoop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Let me paste that. There we go. I like that. I think that's cool. I think that works. Alright, so on armor. Let's see here. So then we need to do our sentience / curse. So, let's see here. Sentience personality traits. Good. Let's see here. So, I'm thinking that like, let me think here. Good. Parasites. Let's see, the parasites are good natured and prefer to act as, let's see, okay, here we go. Parasites act similar to a loyal dog companion. Evil parasites are more like rabid dogs. Parasites act similar to a loyal dog companion, will only attack when caster desires it. Rabid dogs attack everything they can. Everything they can, including occasionally the caster if no combat for over 24 hours. The parasites, they get hungry. You know, they're parasites. They get hungry. They gotta feed. Let's see here. And then we go lawful. Let's see here. Lawful. Refuse to attack anything that isn't attacking the caster. Chaotic. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. Lawful. Let's do it this way. Will not that's it. Instead of, let's see, I'm gonna take that way. Take this away. Evil. Occasionally attack the caster. There we go. So lawful. Only attack the target and caster if evil. Chaotic. Tend to attack anyone within close contact. Alright, hold on. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Okay, so chaotic. Tend to attack anyone within close contact. So it's just like if you get too close to them while they're wearing the item, the fleas will go over and start biting. All right, and then the last one. Let's see here. Curse traits. Oops. Curse traits. So on this one, I'm thinking curse traits. So if it's cursed, the parasites will persist on the caster even after item is removed. Must seek magical means to avoid. So magical means to remove is better. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Gosh, I'm having fun with this. I'm having so much fun with this. I'm going to be working on this so much, even in my free time when I'm not streaming. I know I am. I know I am. Alright, so infestation. So the next one is Mage Hand. Oh god. Okay, Mage Hand is going to be fun. Mage Hand. Imbibement. Imbibement that is focused primarily on utility. Hey, welcome back, Spooky. So what I'm working on here, just to catch you up, what I've been working on is I finished, so I had this week a goal of finishing up the Pirate Cove map that I've been working on for a while. We finished that up last stream. So today I've just been working on some lore in terms of how different schools of magic exist and interact in my world. And through some winding trains of thought of mine, I have landed on working on, because I have a system, it's kind of a homebrew system that allows players to imbue any item with the effects of any spell within the rules as written. And so what I'm doing, so one thing led to another, and so what I'm doing is basically just sort of going down spell by spell and sort of predetermining. Enchanting is tons of fun. I love it. I love doing that. I think it's so much cooler to let players enchant their items rather than having them find magical items, so that way they can keep items that are like important parts of their backstory. It's like, it sucks when it's like, this is the sword handed down from my great grandfather to my grandfather, then my father, and now to me, and then it's like the first time they get a +1 sword, they're like, fuck you, grandpa, and they just like ditch the sword, right? It's like, that's super lame. So by doing the enchanting, it's like, rather than having to just constantly change weapons and have that not really even be part of their character, it's like they can instead really hone in that weapon or that piece of armor, whatever it is. They can really like build that into their character if they want, and so that's why I really like doing it. But yeah, so I'm going through and I'm basically just working on establishing sort of like a predetermined like system that will sort of make it so that there's consistency when someone's like, I want to imbue this item with this spell, so I can basically just be like, okay, yeah, so here's what the basic effects are going to be. Obviously, you make a few different adjustments and stuff like that, but this way it's like, it's predetermined, it's balanced, and I can sort of be ready for it when it comes up. And also, it's just really fun to think about how it would work. Oh, damn. Yeah. Three ranked games in a row. That's better than me, man. I suck at competitive gaming. That's why I play things like D&D, where you like work together with your players and stuff. Eldritch Blast on a bow. That's part of the reason why I'm going through and sort of doing this ahead of time, so I can have the time to think about how to make sure that things aren't too overpowered when you add it in there. And one of the things too is part of the enchanting system includes the possibility of accidentally granting sentience or cursing your item, and so I'm I'm also sort of predetermining what the nature of that would be too. So it's like, so I try to keep it balanced and try to keep it like wild magic almost. Is just the fun of it for me, because like for me, I think the fun of D&D comes when you have creative, wacky things that show up. So that's kind of what we're working on. So let's think about Mage Hand here. Mage Hand, obviously, spectral floating hand appears. If vanishes ever more than 30 feet away, you use your action to control the hand. You can use the hand to manipulate an object, open an unlocked door or container. So, Mage Hand. So Hexblade Warlock with a bow enchanted with Eldritch Blast. I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. Like, that's that's, I don't know. That sounds very anime in a lot of ways, which I think is awesome. I love anime. But let's see here. Mage Hand. Hand can't attack, activate magic items, or carry more than 10 pounds. So let's see here. On weapons. So this is a tough one to think about how it would work in like a combat setting. And I'm trying to think about, because again, I want to make sure I'm maintaining the spirit of the spell with it. So it's like, I don't want to just have it on the weapon. So when you attack with the weapon, a mage hand appears and punches it. It's because the hand can't attack. It's not an attacking thing. So I'm wondering if it's like weapons. Let's see here. I'm trying to think about a way to make it so that it's like it serves as sort of like a minor grappling impact. So it's like if you have it on a weapon, when you hit it, when you hit an enemy, the hand will appear and sort of like grab the shirt collar or grab the cuff or grab an article of clothing on the enemy, and it's something like it'll reduce their movement speed or something like that, maybe. Because it can only carry 10 pounds, too. Yeah, so like, because the other thing too is if it's used on a weapon, like I want that weapon to be usable by non-magic users. So I don't think it can be something where it's like the hand appears when you swing your sword and you can control it then too. Because if like a barbarian has the sword, I want them to still gain benefits from it. So I'm thinking, I like the idea of on a hit, hand appears and grabs, you know, something on the opponent. You know, or it's like maybe it's like the hand appears, slow the enemy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like it reduces movement speed by like 5 or 10 feet or something like that, until the hand is dispelled. Yeah, which is like it vanishes if it's more than 30 feet away. So it's like it makes it easier. So it like kind of keeps them nearby or something like that. Stops them from running away. I like that idea. Yeah, I'm feeling that vibe, Spooky. I think that's what we're gonna go with. So let's see here on weapons. Let's see here. When an enemy is struck with the weapon, an ethereal hand appears and grabs the clothing. Yeah, go for it, man. You do your thing. I'm actually probably going to finish up this one and call it a stream, because I've been on here for 2.5 hours now, and I've got a couple family members that have called me that I got to call back and make sure that the world isn't blowing up. I know it's not. They'd have spammed me much more, but I need to be a responsible adult and actually call people back and stuff. So I'm going to finish this one and call it a stream here. But first we got to finish this one. An ethereal hand appears and grabs the target's clothing, slowing its movement speed by 10 feet. Yeah, that's good. I think that's good. Let's see here. Effect. Oh, let's see here. Only one hand can exist, and subsequent hits will not produce a hand until the first one is dispelled. Yeah. Okay, that's good. On armor. So it's on armor. If hit by an attack, let's see here. I'm thinking if hit by an attack, it will try to grab the weapon that hit it. Okay, here we go. Hit by an attack, hand will appear from the caster and attempt to grab the weapon that is attacking. What we'll do is the attacking enemy makes a dex check against the caster's AC. A success. Let's see here. On a fail, the weapon is grappled and the enemy must use an action to pull the weapon back from the hand, because the hand isn't very strong, but it's enough that they kind of have to yank it. I think that's fair. I think that's good. I think that's balanced. And then we're gonna also say again, only one hand can exist. So it's like if it's gripping it and they fail and it's still holding it. Yeah. So it's like if the enemy doesn't use its action to pull the weapon away and instead does something else so the hand is still holding it, then that hand will still exist and another one will not appear. I think that works. Okay, and then sentience slash curse sentience personality traits. Okay, so sentience personality traits. For all, the hand will be ever present when the item is equipped and will speak in sign language. Good. Let's see here. It will attempt to help in non-combat situations. Evil. It will try to provoke combat situations. I like that. I like that. Okay. Lawful. It will speak properly and with courtesy. Chaotic. Swears like a sailor. I'm immediately in love with the sentient, I'm immediately in love with the concept of like a sentient mage hand breastplate or something like that. So there's always just this hand hanging out with you, like a little fairy that's constantly like flipping people the bird or something like that. Or like if it's like chaotic evil, it flips people the bird and then like will walk up and like flick people in the ear and then hide behind you, the wearer, to like make so that they think that the wearer is the one who is trying to pick a fight or something. I'm in love with this idea immediately. Okay, curse traits. Let's see here. If you try to unequip the weapon, the hand will constantly... Let's see, if you try to... The hand will act as though you are an enemy attacking. I think. No. How do I want to curse this? I don't know. I think that's a little too... What's a good nature for the curse for this thing? I kind of want it to somehow impact so that it will be as much of a hindrance as an assistance. That's usually what the curses I usually like to have are. Trying to think about what a balance would be, so it's like anytime the hand is activated, how it might also hinder. This one might be one that just like the curse is that it can't be removed. Curse traits. So yeah, actually that's what we'll do. Cannot be removed unless by magical means functionally anytime you try to unequip the item, the hand appears and stops with 2 P's, stops you from doing so. There we go. Okay, I like that. Yeah, it can't be removed. So it's like, you know, I can just see it, because like the thought is I'm leaning more and more towards, if someone is enchanting this and they accidentally curse the item, they don't realize they've done that. So they're so I'm thinking what'll happen is, like the first time, I just imagine the first time they're like, okay, I think I'm done using this. They try to remove, you know, like a hat or something they made with it, and suddenly the hand appears and stops them from removing it, so they can't remove it. It's like both comical and kind of horrifying. So I like that. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. It is almost 3 o'clock now. I've been going for 2.5 hours, getting closer to 3 hours. I think I am going to call it a session, because I have a few chores I have to take care of around here before I am. One of the things I was texting about earlier is I'm going to be playing some Monster Hunter with one of my buds, so I got to get myself ready for that. So I'm going to call it a stream there. But we got some good ideas in, and this was fun. I am definitely going to use this as a filler project for a long time, for the times when I finish a dungeon and am ahead of schedule on whatever goals I set for myself, because this was fun. I like coming up with this type of stuff. I think it's fun. I think it's creative. I think it gets me into a creative mindset, and really sort of, like, I like that there's a challenge involved in it too, so I have to really sort of like flex a few sort of problem solving bits in my brain and stuff. So yeah, so I am going to, we're going to call it a session there. Appreciate anyone who stopped by, and for anyone who's now watching the replay, either on Twitch or YouTube, I appreciate you stopping by and checking out the stuff I'm making. As I explained a couple times, streaming for me is now most afternoons. I know for some crowds that makes it a bit more difficult to watch, but you know, that's what I'm able to do right now because of my schedule. So we're just gonna do it. I upload all of the replays. I keep them up on Twitch as long as they'll stay, and I upload all of them to YouTube. So you can check out my YouTube channel. I should have it linked there. I should double check and make sure that's there, but I'm pretty sure it's linked. You can watch them here. You know, so if you can't stop by live, but you like sort of seeing what I'm working on here with the writing, then by all means do it. Tomorrow evening, however, Saturday evening, I will be streaming in the evening, evening streaming. I'm gonna try and I'll be playing some Borderlands, and my plan is to do it as sort of a fight companion, because there are some cool, there's some good UFC fights happening in the evening. So once I log on, the fights should be started. So that's kind of my plan, is to have the fights going. I obviously can't stream the fights because Uncle Dana will come and smack me a new one. But yeah, I will be streaming then, and I will probably just sort of be casually talking about what I'm seeing in the fights, maybe pausing the gameplay from time to time so I can witness the fights and talk about what I'm seeing. So if anyone wants to like watch the fights while watching the stream or something like that, you can hear my thoughts. I don't know if that's something people will be interested in, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I think it's fun, and that way I can pretend like I'm having a conversation. There's actually people in my life interested in learning about what's going on with MMA, because I train MMA, but no one really in my circles shares my enthusiasm about it. So, and anyway, that's what's happening. I'm working on figuring out a good, consistent way to show at least a couple days ahead of time when I'll be streaming, because streaming in the afternoons means that I will occasionally be, the time will be in competition with my day job, so it will depend. If I have afternoon meetings for my day job, it'll change the time a little bit of when I can stream, or if I can stream, depending on what's going on. So yeah, I'm gonna try and figure out a way to get my schedule going up on my Twitch page for that, to encourage people to check out live if they can. But yeah, all that's upcoming. next week will be a new week. I know Monday we'll definitely be doing some more writing streams, as I am keeping with the general schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday are writing streams, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday will be gaming streams. That's sort of my intent to keep that going. So, but yeah, I think that's all I got. Thanks again for anyone who is watching, either live or the replay. I appreciate any viewership. I like being part of the community. I hope that you find interesting stuff and work on trying to show up live and stuff like that, so that way we can keep having some fun and chat and bounce ideas off each other for whatever either I'm writing or whatever we're talking about during the gaming stream. So yeah, with that, I'm EnviroBoy. This has been a good time. Go out there, be good, do some good stuff for this world, and we'll catch you all next time.